In another time. In another dimension. Bearded warriors. Trapped in an eternity of vapid space. Doomed to wander the galaxy. Broadcasting their nonsense to the void. This is Star.
Of self-run ads per hour is on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Yes, we're live.
Hello.
Hello.
Quit talking about the commercials.
Fucking run one now.
More commercials.
I'm not dead yet.
All the commercials.
All your commercials belong to us. Oh, good. The chat's working now. Thank God.
I can't see the chat.
Hello.
On the live stream.
Looks like we have the tail.
No, SgtStakas and Perfekt are a little too high up. I gotta fix it again.
What?
Let me go ahead and fix that while I can. Everyone gets to see behind the curtains. That's what it looks like when there's nothing around.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, just pretend this is not happening. You're not seeing any of this stuff.
No, he doesn't have a hand up my ass. No.
Oh, it's okay. You know, we got Perfekt call just dropped, which shifted everybody over.
Yay, Perfekt!
Yay, Perfekt is back.
Right.
And then Bod's got some. What's going on with Bod's thing here?
Some beer.
What is going on with Bod?
What is going on with Bod?
Just straight up, what is
What
going
is up with
on?
Bod? There we go. Okay, got that fixed, I think.
I put a lot of work into this beard.
I think this is the closest we're gonna get to a full bearded cast.
Now,
Well, Nikki's not got a beard.
That's
John
why I
Vegas
said
is-
I think this is the closest we're gonna get.
Yeah.
I have been called a beard before.
Have you now?
I had a couple of gay friends.
No comment.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong. No. Ow.
Are we gonna go down that road?
No, sorry, everybody. I have like a bulging disc in my back. And
What?
Yeah. It's so painful I can't even move my left arm. So we're going to do this whole show right-handed tonight. Fucking hurts so much. I've been popping these goddamn pills all day. Okay. Anyway, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is StarCast, a Star Citizen podcast. And tonight we have a full house again. We have Mr. Stakas to my this way. And then we have Perfekt right next door. Miss Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo down below in Trendane's spot. We have Bod, who is in disguise incognito with his gunners, his beard, and his really great hat. And then we have the man in black himself, Mr. CoreofexisteNz, wearing original movie replica Men in Black shades, and everyone's got their redacted hoodies on. We're just hardcore.
Except for me, it's too hot.
It's too hot. Well, it's too hot for SgtStakas too, but he's wearing them anyway.
it's actually quite cool down here today. I'm making the best of it. I'm not going to be able to wear this thing for another month, so bugger it. I'm wearing it now.
Hold on. Demon Cat says, if I could go to Geekdomo, I could fix that for you. I'm sorry, I'm not. I missed it. What did I...
How is he gonna fix that? Is he gonna
Fix what? Oh, my back. Oh, my back, yeah. I've been seeing a chiropractor, but it's just not working. I think I gotta go get an MRI done because it's so painful I can't sleep or anything. Just even sitting here is killing me.
And my dad's having surgery for that next week, I should say. Arthroscopic.
I might be headed that way myself. See, Bod's beard is the shit, says Mr. Perfekt Nerd.
That is.
Defending him against the chat. He calls him a fake.
You know, I left it on to say Q&A time. I'm all kinds of fucked up tonight. What the hell is that?
I have no idea.
That
It was
that
me.
song. It was that one song. I know that song.
It was me.
It was Nikki. Okay. What am I doing here? It's not Q&A time at all. So what are our topics tonight?
Let's talk about the AI.
Want to talk about AI first? Oh yeah, everybody has to take their pants off. Not in the
Alright,
cast.
okay, well,
It's too
I was
late
gonna
for
say
that.
let's
Too
do a
late.
quick update from what happened last week.
Last
Before we
week.
do anything else.
Well, the AI was part of that.
Yeah, it was part of that.
That was this week, though. That was after 10 for the chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
perfect. Your cam keeps freezing.
yeah, sorry, it might be my internet. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, might just have to deal with that for now.
It's fine.
This setup is not perfect yet. I still have to work on it.
Stakas isn't a Kiwi. He's an Aussie.
There he goes.
Here's Cyberworld. Oh yeah, real quick before we
Sure
get into
doesn't
that,
stop.
remember everybody, if you'd like to ask a question tonight, just put the question in brackets like Cyberwolf just did there, and then put whatever you want, and we'll try to answer as best we can. Cyberwolf always prepares these great questions, so we'll get to them pretty soon, and then we'll talk about that. All right, so continue on, Mr. Perfect. You want to give us an update from last week?
So I think some applause or something is in order because this is the first week I think that we did not have a stretch goal that we met.
Maybe I think everyone's just a little bit like meh about the stretch goals anymore, so they're just like, well, we'll give him some more money when we see something exciting.
But it took a long time for that. I think maybe the only reason you had one go after the other is when they released the jump points. But it's been taking a long time, between 3 and 4 weeks, for you to hit a stretch goal.
Yeah.
So I'm probably just going to slow down. It's probably going to stay at this pace until they have another sale, when it's going to shoot back up again when they release some more ships. So yeah, that's fun stuff. I'm thinking we should go chronologically in the show. So last week's Wingman Hangar was kind of like whatever. I can't remember what they talked about actually on last week's
AI last week.
Was it AI?
And this week was the mocap.
Yeah, it's mocap this week. I was right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can talk about AI to start with. It looks sick.
Yeah, it was Moon Collider with the Cothera system for the AI. It was the thinking and all-knowing AI with the intelligent pathing systems where they could basically, in the flight module, they wouldn't run into each other, so they could basically just fly around like a bunch of flies and just not run into each other. And then also the people AI, the crowd AI that would stop and think if something happened in the world around them, they could actively stop and navigate it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
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 I'm the one that brought it up. I was put back by, no, not put back. I was kind of in awe of how much they're taking into account with it, because whenever you play any of the dogfighting games that are out now, if you play against something that's not a human being, it's kind of like going back 20 years. Nothing's changed. You know, you play for a little while, you notice that they always go left or always go right, and you learn how they go. But with this being an adaptive AI, you know, getting harder according to how you play, it was actually quite impressive. It means that maybe there'll be some challenge to playing Squadron 42, which is going to be mostly against AI, right?
Well, other players too,
Yeah.
maybe. But you're probably right. It's probably mostly AI.
It's all AI. The only thing multiplayer is they can help you with a mission, but they can't play against you.
You know, what's really cool about that is the implementation of like AI personalities. You didn't really see that at any time previous to this. Like, you know, you have like a timid AI versus like a super aggressive AI, or kind of like a recon focused AI, someone who's just, you know, they AIs that have specific objectives within like the broader context of a battle that can change. I mean, that's really cool.
And apparently they're their motives can change with the universe as well. Basically, if they're in a particular system and their economic status is one particular way, whether they're rich as hell or whatever, and their particular goals will be relative to that. And then if something happens in that system which alters that, their priorities will change. And then the next time you come back to that system, they may have a completely different goal set or a completely different personality towards you and what's going on in the universe, which is nuts.
Right.
I think that actually also lends itself to a different kind of emergent gameplay, because if you think about it, if you have somebody who's or an AI whose goals are changing, dramatically, what happens if you start introducing elements like memory, where there's actually an AI can remember if a specific player robbed him or took his ship or something, and if he just loses everything, he might go on this like mad quest for revenge, chasing across the universe. I think that
would be awesome.
It would be awesome, but that would mean they technically all have their individual processes, I guess, and that I don't think it's going to go that far. I think it'll be more like a hive mind that usurps control over the collective. Just throwing it out there. In Dark Souls, which is one of the hardest single player hack and slash games there is, the reason why it's so difficult is because the AI constantly screws you over. Let's say you beat an enemy once in a certain way, the enemy then decides to, account for the way that you killed them, and instead of using the exact same moveset, they switch up a move at the end and kick your ass straight back to hell. It's that sort of stuff that is like the true hallmark of an adaptive AI, because they adapt and overcome previous issues that you have used as a way to beat them before, and they take that into account the second time they try something like that. Which, of course, is only possible if the AI learns that if he does a certain moveset, he gets punished for it. It's like a dog getting his face pushed in the shit every time he takes a shit on your rug. And if the AI truly does work like that, it's not that difficult. It's not that revolutionary, because a lot of AIs already do work like that. And the thing that might set Star Citizen apart is the hive mind collective behind all these different AIs that might form this collective of, oh my god, we need to adjust our global strategy rather than our local defense thing. So whilst the personal quest for revenge might be truly awesome and inspired, it probably won't be like that. It'll probably be more of a, oh my god, look at what they did to that one single process in our system. Let's make sure that never happens to any of our other processes.
Yeah. Or like what happened to this planet? Like somebody annihilated all of the people on this planet, so something happens. It's sort of the global process that
it is
shifts their priority.
Or perfect. Sorry, people were saying there's a lot of static, and I was trying to figure out where it was coming from. And it's
right.
It's
every time you talk, it's like really staticky. It's okay. You can keep talking. Yeah.
1 second.
It's not just staticky. It's bandwidth, because he keeps stopping also.
Yeah. Well, there's some static too.
Is that better? Worse?
a bit better, a little bit.
I can hear like a brrr going on there.
It's just it's the robotic clicking sound that you'd hear
again.
Right.
Ooh.
Is that by
CC Corp?
Go tell your girlfriend to get off Netflix.
CC Corp, thank you so much for subscribing.
Yeah.
All right, I got to put him in the spreadsheet so he can start earning the double domo coins.
So I when it came to the AI, I thought the dynamic pathing was like the part of it that was revolutionary, not the rest of it. Like that they would be able to stop and think and react to what was going on around them at that point. I didn't know of anything that said that they would be, remember who you are or whatever, which honestly that's not as impressive as being able to actually act in a combat situation.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, like, that's sort of, that's an extension of the idea. It's maybe somewhere you could take it eventually, sort of a macro level artificial intelligence.
I'd like
I thought
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Stakas.
No, I was just going to say, I thought the idea was for it to start at that right here, right now level. A box has fallen in front of me. I have to navigate around that. But that was just the beginning. And then it scaled the whole way through on every level of every decision that he was making. Chris Roberts sort of went into that saying that they're going to have a process that makes every step. It's going to go from, oh, there's a box in front of me. But then from the box in front of me, I have to go from this point to this point on the map. And then from that, what do I do after that? And it's gonna extend the entire way through. It's not just going to be. I mean, it's cool that if a box falls in front of him, he doesn't just stop and go like they normally would. Mm-hmm. He navigates it, but then he has I guess a program written for him that he is going to want to do all these things throughout the day or throughout the week or in his lifetime. Yeah. But the AI will also think around any obstacle that gets in between point A and point B. Right. on that scale.
Right, but it was mission specific, meaning it was only for that mission. For them to keep all that data in the server and how they reacted to you, that's definitely a long-term goal, but that's not something that you're going to see implemented for a while because that's just too much.
Oh, yeah, no, that's definitely...
That's like programming intelligence, like real intelligence.
Well, that's the thing. That's what it's all about there. They created a system that simulates an intelligence, but it's based on a very simple base, a bunch of goals.
That's why when you're talking about intelligence, you're talking about a process that adapts or at least intelligently correlates processes that react to all AI currently under its control, right? You're talking about an intelligence from the top level down. Most have very rudimentary AI in the sense that whilst you call it AI, it really only is a process that defines if this, then this, if that, then that, if this, then that. And that's what most AIs are. But when you're talking about a governing process, you're talking about something that correlates, okay, well, this little process has run into an issue that its code can't solve. So the governing process takes over control of that unit and solves the problem for that unit because it has a lot more directives and a lot more protocols to solve the problem for it. And that's how you have the adaptive AI protocol systems. It's like a layering of .NET multifunctionality MFCs.
Hey, Trendane, more than that. Thanks for coming.
More than that, it's... So it's actually really fascinating that this is the first time that you have sort of macro-level processes affecting decision-making on the micro level. Because if you think about it, the way they used to do AI, especially with instancing, is that you'd have an instanced you'd have an instanced AI, right? So an individual, whatever, unit, person, thing, whatever, and that would have its own directives, right? And it has its own logical pathways and whatever, and that was, it's reacting directly to stimuli in its environment, right? And so its decision-making capability was sort of limited to what was going on around it. And now it's like, okay, it not only has that sort of bank of, like you said, if-then statements to pool and take decisions from, now it also has sort of a macro-level system, a macro level pool of intelligence to sort of make decisions out of, which is actually really fascinating because it means that, play in actual battles, so an instance AI is now affected by things that are happening outside of the instance. So if they get called somewhere else, they might end up leaving the battle in the middle and trying to flee.
I was thinking, I really like the story bricks that they're doing over there with EverQuest Next. But I don't know if that really would play into this as well. But I like the whole wants and needs thing that's built into Storybricks, which I haven't heard them talking too much about in here. So maybe an NPC, I mean, they did sort of allude to it, but I don't know the specifics of the system as much. But basically they said that, if you have an NPC has a want, I need to get some oil from this particular space station, then he would travel to there. And so that's just a want. His need is to get wealthy, so he's always going to do whatever he can to get wealthy. And so those are kind of things that are built into the Storybricks AI that I don't know necessarily if they're in this AI here, other than what's that?
wouldn't it be the other way around? He wants to get wealthy, but he needs fuel to do that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever way you do it.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
But I think that still plays into it though, because Chris said that basically they're going to have that. They're going to have those short-term and long-term goals, which are basically needs and wants, and he's going to prioritize which one comes first, obviously. But I guess the real thing about it is if he's traveling from where he is now to that place to get that oil, but then someone interrupts him, he's then going to change his priority to think, no, I still need oil, but I have to get rid of this guy first, so I'm going to attack him and engage him and then destroy him, get rid of him, and then, because he might want my oil too, and then move on and grab the oil or get beaten and go home crying.
But you have a way to fix the way your camera's pointed? You're looking at the lower right of your screen, and it happens to be looking directly at Batgirl. The whole time you've been sitting there staring down.
He's sitting there going, oh.
I know, that's what he looks like. He's like lurid, like he's just sitting there going,
That's not creepy at all.
No, it doesn't look creepy at all, especially with the hat and the glasses that you got going on.
Hey, that's where the browser is. It was in the bottom right of the screen.
Yeah, he's going to fix it now.
You can see that.
It's in the bottom left. We stare at core instead.
Yeah, go ahead, stare at core. Just a little safer. All right.
That's safer?
Maybe.
No, not really.
I don't know about that.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the next great starship, because that was a pretty good episode this last week.
Yep.
You guys want to talk about the ships, or what did you think of some of the new ships? I guess we can talk about that. I didn't get them. I know last week somebody said you should really have pictures of them so we can look at them while we're talking about them, but.
From what I could tell, Infinite Shoe Monkey, True, and Shard went through, and Belafonte dropped out, and Eris was up for the save vote.
Why did Belafonte drop out? I thought his ship was okay. I mean, they didn't beat him up too bad. He's a single guy.
It was only one guy though,
yeah.
And they weren't catapult nasty to him.
No,
but they were pretty harsh on him though. In respect to, like, there was that big stupid rubber duck looking thing last week, whatever it was, that that big grey blob, and that was pretty nasty as far as I'm concerned in overall quality.
But they went and tweaked it.
Yeah, what? They tweaked it by what? Putting a couple of vents in the side.
Yeah, I know.
It's like you've got this rusty old crap piece of car. Oh, it's not good. We must fix it up. Okay, so I'm gonna go and put like some fuzzy dice on it, and you put some hubcaps on it. There you go. That's much better.
Some spinners, because that's how we roll.
That's right. No, but they were so much leaner on him than they were, the Belafonte guys. So. I guess, I don't know. He didn't seem very confident in his entry either.
No, he really just the video of him. He seemed like he was really nervous.
Not just that though. He didn't seem confident in his ship. He had a couple of silhouettes, and he took a bit of part A and part B, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not really going to go into much detail about it." It's like, well, hang on, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. You should spend 20 minutes and let them
detail.
cut out the good stuff.
Judges need details. All you've got is this black shadow picture on the screen. We need to know what the hell we're looking at. And he's like, so you can sort of see what we're looking at here, and it's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't.
With what's going on, that might be why there's going to be a couple of weeks or a few weeks between this episode that we just had and the next episode when the contest is. It is, I was talking to David Hubbins and Chris Smith, and when you look at how long it takes for them to do a ship, and they're asking these guys to do it in like
half the time or less.
Yeah, and Chris was talking about it in the office, when I went for my visit, so we could talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, but he had said, these guys are working on it night and day in the office, and the other people, they're working on it like they have full-time jobs, they're going to school, they're doing this, and they're trying to get the same thing that we're asking for from one of our own concept artists in less time than we're giving our own concept art. Maybe that's why they set that back a little bit, give them some time.
Yeah, they are. They did. It's going to be 3 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks before our next episode.
Yeah, we get to see what's going on with the Mustang and some other things internally before then.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, so before we move on to anything else, who'd you guys vote for the save?
Who was the? Oh God, the one with V. What was that? I can't remember.
The
Which one?
I
Three
can't
Dingoes?
remember. No,
Three
not
Dingo?
Three Dingoes. No.
I voted for Three Dingo.
I like Three Dingoes. Yeah, I might
I
have voted
voted
for
for
Three
them.
Dingoes.
I didn't dislike them. I just, after, they got in by the skin of their teeth, and after their weapon was, that good, their ship didn't move me as much as one of the other ones did.
But did you see their rework though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but-
it's looking good.
Okay, but that's not what they put in, right?
No, and I
It's
did.
like I didn't see the reworks for the other people either.
I did kind of
Yeah,
get
no,
that
there
same
are.
feeling
There's
that
a lot of them.
they snuck in under the wire because they presented to them and said, okay, should they come in or go? And everyone was like, well, I guess they should come in. When they first showed up on the show, I kind of thought they snuck in under the wire myself. But I still like the way their ship looks.
I
Yeah,
think it
I
went for
actually do.
Talon Corp.
I voted for Talon as well.
Yeah.
See, I think
was
his ship
hard.
was. I think his ship was stylish. I think it was very artistically designed. It was very aesthetically pleasing as far as the ship
Right.
goes. I honestly don't think it looked like it belonged in Star Citizen though. Any other universe in like for me, the first thing I looked at, I said that belongs in Halo. That looked like it did. No, it did. Just the shape of it. It looked like a Covenant ship from Halo. And like you
Yeah.
could literally just take it, put it into Halo 5, and it would.
But their weapon was amazing.
The weapon and all that sort of stuff was cool, but he still didn't have the man turrets, which he was supposed to have. And even
Okay.
after getting told he was supposed to have 2-man turrets, he didn't implement them. He did the rework and still didn't have the 2-man turrets. And then they told him that the back of the ship had to be bulked out, so he put some extra flaps on top of the wings and still left the back as open as it was. So I'm not saying that it wasn't a bad design, because it was a great design and aesthetically it was fantastic, really cool looking ship. But he just didn't seem to listen to what a single word that the judges even
Maybe it was
said.
a lack of time too. You got to give him that. It's
Oh no! It looked like, from what he did in the rework, it looked like he had plenty of time to because he completely redesigned those silly arm things that came
Yeah.
out.
Oh, that was silly. You're right.
He completely redesigned them, and not only did he redesign them, they look even worse now than they did before.
Praying mantis.
Well, they do. Before they came out, but they were very bulky and sturdy. But then the judges said, well, where are they, though? Where are they hiding inside the ship? Because in Star Citizen, every single thing inside the ship has to have a real place. It has to have a function, and it physically has to be there in the ship. Can't be any of this movie magic stuff. So he's reworked it, and now they're even these tiny little pissy fold-out arms with little pew-pew guns on the side. And
I
they're
thought they
still
looked a little
not...
silly
Yeah,
myself.
those didn't need to be there in the first place. They should have told them to get rid of them right
Well,
off
they kind
the
of
bat.
did. They kind of did. They said that's not a manned turret. He said they understand that was a remotely manned turret. And Chris Roberts himself even said about another entry that had one as well. Said a remotely manned turret is not a manned turret. We want something you can physically sit in.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Yeah.
point of having 2 crew members in there as well as the pilot, because they man the guns.
Right.
And so he still didn't listen to that, and he made them even worse.
So as it stands right now, though, nobody in this last week is
Amazing.
the number one.
No.
No, we're not going to say amazing. They're not the winner. They're all amazing. I think they're all great, but the winner was like there were winners from week 1 and week 2.
Yeah.
Not week 1. Yeah.
2
I
was
mean,
great. I thought
two
week
was
2 was
fantastic.
one of the best weeks ever. Almost all the
Yeah.
ships on there. I was like, yeah, I want to fly
Because
I
that.
don't.
There
no,
was
no, no.
This was not disappointing. It just wasn't as wow as the other weeks were.
Yeah.
I guess you get to expect more because you've seen all that, and then you go and you hit the mod forums, or I should say, where people are building their own ships and stuff. And then what they showed this week wasn't bad. It just wasn't wow. It wasn't a wow week.
Well, we were all
You know-
talking about this in a previous episode of this show that it's almost like they had just a random hat because it wasn't like they had like one really great one in every episode. It was almost like some episodes, like last week was just meh. There wasn't like an amazing one.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, I think my thought process is wrong now. I thought they shot all 3 episodes in the same day.
I thought so.
To give everybody all the same time. I'm wondering if that's true at this point, because it seems like some people some of the statements that dropped, after seeing the other people, they would have known. And I'm like, but they were all shot in the same day. I mean, Sandy's in the same dress, Mark's in the same shirt.
Obviously.
Mark. I'm like, how are they saying that?
When you were out there visiting, we'll get to this in a second. When you were out there visiting, did you want to steal the shirt? Because
no, I didn't see Mark. Mark is in Austin. I was in Santa Monica.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they had the shirt on display out there.
Oh God, no! It's too bright to walk around Santa Monica with that.
Framed.
Too bright. Yeah.
But I will say, as far as redesigns go, the one that impressed me the absolute most was Infinite Shoe Monkey. That was the one that they had that really long, bendy sort of Formula One looking ship. Because it looked like a car, really, without wheels.
Once you said it looked like an F1 car in the front, I was like, oh my God, that's what they used as their styling for the whole thing. Like the inset cockpit was ass. I was like, who's going to see out of that thing?
And this is what made me think about all of the other people that had sort of they made it through, but they were a little iffy, and the judges are like, yeah, you can work on it. Infinite Shoe Monkey came back with a almost completely redesigned outside hull, which looks so much beefier and more like a gunship. But not only that, they then showed an entire layout of their internal systems in a 3D sort of see-through schematic with almost every single system rendered and detailed. Like the entire thing. They said they've got their entire damage system internals ready to go. And I'm thinking, well, if they had enough time to do all that, what have all the other teams been doing?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the other teams are just throwing up grey blobs of poo on the screen and going, well, this is the right.
You can definitely see there's a delineation of talent here. I mean, there's some teams that are just like, holy crap.
I wouldn't go that far. I think that the thing is, it's the concept art phase. So I think some teams are a lot stronger on the whole concepting side of things than other teams are. And so, like, once we get to like the modeling and the in-engine implementation, I think the teams that were kind of iffy on the concept art are going to really shine.
Yeah, there was one that Chris was talking about from this week that they're so much better. They should have just gone right to the engine instead of doing the concept art.
Yep.
But that's how Rob put. Was it Rob that he was talking about? He was talking about Rob Irving or somebody else that designed one of the ships, and they didn't even concept it. They went right. Yeah. So I mean,
they said he's hopeless. He can't draw to save his life.
Nobody liked Eris at all, huh?
I liked Eris. It was okay.
I mean, I had to look it over. I had to look it over quite a few times. I didn't dislike it. I just didn't. It wasn't a vote. You know.
If I'm honest, none of the save teams really
worth it.
Like, I don't think any of them really have a chance.
Well, you don't know that now. That, I mean, remember, now is a peek into what they're looking at and what they just said about maybe they're better at modeling than they are at concept. You don't know.
We can only hope the next few episodes after the break are just nothing but 3D models and rendering and all the good hot stuff.
I mean, we've looked at the work in progress things in the jump point, and today, the scythe is out there on the
I just saw that
loading. I mean, when you look through the work in progress, some of the stuff that's up there is like, you got to be kidding me. And then you look at the finalized ship, and that's with Chris guiding somebody is why we're getting the ships that we have, right? With him saying, no, not that. I have more along this. I have this in mind. I don't want that. And these people don't have that. They're just getting beaten up on a show for our entertainment, right? I mean, come on, that's what's going on. I gotta stop looking down. I gotta look at you guys. But I mean, that's what's going on here. And to be honest, I mean, these people set themselves apart from how many other people that were involved, right?
Oh yeah, there's probably 1,000 teams that started off with this whole thing.
I think it was 100, right?
Okay,
200.
Even 200. And we're down.
Let's not go over the top. 200. Yeah.
I always go over the top.
Yeah.
Zedekiah says it looks like you're chewing a black cat, Bod. So Bod really wanted to fit in with the beard, and so he went and got himself a beard. That's what he's wearing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think Mr. Bigglesworth thought it was a cat because he came over and jumped on my lap for a minute.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Just kidding. No, it's actually Sophie, my cat.
All right, so let's move on from the next great starship, and our next topic is going to be Nikki's visit to SIG.
10 for the chairman. No, okay. My visit to SIG.
10 for the Chairman this week was actually pretty good. The reason I wanted to skip over it is because we have about 4 questions, I think, that are directly related to the 10 for Chairman, so we might as well talk about them as we talk about those questions when we get to it.
All right.
So talk about your visit.
All right, so I found myself in California last week, and I knew that this was going to happen for quite a long time. So I was there Monday through Friday, had appointments and stuff to do until Thursday night. So talked to Ben, Sandy, and Will, who is our new lead moderator, I take it? Is that what
yeah,
it is? Yeah,
they keep putting in there next to Ben just to say, this guy we're supposed to be, this is the guy, guys.
Yeah, and got invited out and set up the appointment. And the first thing that comes through is Will telling me, you're only going to have a half hour. And I'm sitting in Huntington Beach and looking at the map going, all right, Huntington Beach is down here and Santa Monica is up here. That's like 60 miles and a half hour. It's California. What is that, 4 hours of driving?
Yeah, if it's a half hour everywhere else, it's at least 12 hours.
So I'm like, Ben, I don't know if a half hour is worth it. And he said, just come. So I went up on Friday. I had a 8:50 flight to catch, so I went up for lunch. Showed up around about 10 after 12, and said I'll come in after lunch. And Will was like, no, come now. So I went walking around the streets of Santa Monica trying to find the place. Has anyone ever seen like a picture of where it is?
No.
No? Okay, so the best way to explain this is like you drive into Santa Monica and there's really no public parking on the streets. It's like in these parking decks that are like 6, 7, 8 floors high. So Siri, or I should say Apple Maps, takes me into one of the decks and says, okay, you're going to need to walk your last quarter of a mile. So it leads me into this promenade, the street that's not a street, it's just people walking on it, and there's street actors and street musicians and vendors and all sorts of things. It's like fair day. And it stops me. It goes, you've arrived at your destination. And I'm looking. There's a Johnny Rockets. There's a bistro. There's an Athleta. I'm like, I arrived at my destination? And I'm looking.
Those damn Apple Maps.
Yeah, and I'm looking over to the left, and I see 2 people disappear into this doorway. And I look above it. I go, oh, that's the address. I walk in there, dark hall that's like floor to ceiling, like 30 feet high. And like this, maybe it was, I was at that point kind of nervous about missing it. I'm walking down the hallway, I'm like, wow, this is where they are? And I come to a door that's like just a door with a little keypad on it. And I'm like, I wonder if this is it. So I ring the doorbell and I'm greeted by, I think her name is May. She's the receptionist or PA or whatever you want to say. She's the person that runs, all of the phone lines and stuff there. And she says, oh, Nikki, good to see you. And she's like, I'm going to start your tour. I'm like, okay. And she brings me into the kitchen.
This is where we make food.
This is where we make the food because nobody's allowed to leave, because if they do, we'll never get the dogfighting module done. So I'm like, okay. And
do they have showers and beds?
To tell you the truth, when you walk in there, it was kind of like, I had my camera, I had my video camera, and I was all set to use everything. And all of a sudden it was like, all right, I'm going to bring you upstairs and introduce you to Chelsea. So it's like, all right, there's a 10-minute conversation with Chelsea. And, oh, God, what's his name that works in the office with her? It's like, this is what I was scared that was going to happen.
I know Ben's watching right now, and he's going to be so
Ben.
upset.
Oh, don't worry. We won't talk about when I said, Ben, I need to know the names of the people that I said hello to and how long it took him to find out. Remember, he's only been there for 2 weeks, right? So I got introduced to Chelsea, and then Will took over. And Will started walking me around the office. I talked to Alexis. I talked to, I got to look at the notes with Ben. So there were quite a number of people that I got to talk to. And Will had only been there for a couple weeks. So we're walking around. I go, can I say hello to David and Chris? And he's looking at me like, I'm like, no, David and Chris in there. And he walked me in and asked the guys if I could talk. And it was Chris Smith and David Hobbins. And I talked to them for quite a while. And David was showing, he was working on something.
NDAs, yeah.
No NDAs.
Did you have to sign an NDA when you got there?
No, Chris Chris didn't make me sign an NDA at all, because I said, I'll sign anything. Just show me the new constellation. And he didn't make me sign it, and he showed me the constellation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it's not as awe-inspiring as
no, it's
I'm
not.
making it
I was
sound.
hoping it came with a hot tub or something.
It could. It might come in a hot tub with Disco Lando. I don't know.
Stripper pole.
Yeah, but I got to talk to them, and they talked to me pretty much about like conceptual things, what they do, how long it takes them, how they work with it, and a lot of their job is taking the ideas, like Chris's vision, and putting them on paper. And okay, Clank, I see that. putting his vision on paper and then working through it and then working with Chris to go back and forth. And then when they're done, sending it off to CGBot and then doing the same thing with CGBot and them and then bringing that to Chris and doing the back and forth again. So he was working on the Mustang, and Chris Smith was adding even more detail onto the canopy frame of the Hornet, getting it ready for the dogfighting module. Yeah. So, I mean, he was painstakingly taking time to put every little speck of detail from what looked like little wires and etch marks in it, like things that no other company would ever do, you know?
Yeah.
And seeing it on the screens and seeing what they're working with. I mean, the machines that they have under their desk, like with 12 and 16 cores of CPU power and 2, 3, 4 video cards, and still chugging away at what they're doing, it made me feel kind of like I'd never be able to buy a machine that would run this thing.
Well, that's why it's best, I think, still to wait until we get a little closer to the release date.
Yeah. Well, they took me from there, and then I went and I talked to another gentleman. I think his name was Zane, and he was doing like game integration. He seemed to be set up to do like how the game plays, how it interfaces, how it works. So it was like, I guess he would be a game tester, but he's not. He's a programmer. So he's looking for the things to make it more fun for us, I guess. So everybody there was working specifically on the dogfighting module, nothing else, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went from him, I stopped in, said hello. I talked to David Hobbins. Now I was talking to David Haddock, and another gentleman that's in charge of doing all the video stuff, like the near photography, I think they call it. And I talked to them for like 10 or 15 minutes. David is someone I always like to talk to. I don't know how into the lore and the background story of the game you are, but I talked to him for quite a while. I had my camera out and was going to say, take a picture of me. And then I noticed up on the whiteboard was like the script of Squadron 42. So I closed my eyes and said, I want to see that, and talked to him with my back to the wall, because I don't want to know what's going on in the actual. I don't want to know what's going on in that part of the game. I want to play through that game and have it be the first time I play it. And David is, if you look at the forums and look at, go back as far as you can, he's been one of the most active developers that you see posting on the RSI website. So we talked a little bit about background, and I said, David Hobbins and you should talk. And I told that to David Hobbins because he was talking about how, like when he's building the ship, he has to know what the background of this race is, and what kind of people are they, and what do they do, and what do they aspire for, like what are the things that make them tick, in order for him to come up with the right ship. So those two started talking when I was in there, and to be honest, when I first saw David Hobbins, I had not slept. I had not slept more than 3 hours the night before because I was on a sushi and baka diet that week. And I had just watched 10 for the Chairman before I went there. So I mistook, not 10 for the Chairman, 10 for the Chairman. I mistook David Hobbins for David Haddock, knowing who he was, but called him the wrong name, which goes back to my spelling error with Sandy when I interviewed her. But it's what got me into talking, saying, you should talk to David Haddock. And he's like, yeah, I should. And I have, and then when I was there, they started talking about things. It was pretty cool. I moved on to a gentleman named Matt who was showing me the explosions. Nice. Oh my God. That is when things started to get really cool, because he was going through, like, just on his screen, there were trillions of polygons, and he's trying to tell me how they make this explosion and then they slice it down so they could actually put it in the game and you can't tell that it's been reduced in size.
Right. They're using Fume FX, which is something I fiddle around with myself, and it's it's amazing. And I saw them the other day when they were talking, like, we're using Fume. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So if you're into 3D modeling at all, it's a pretty powerful program.
Right. And when you look at when they're doing these things on camera and you're watching it in Sandy's little inside CIG things, you go, yeah, that's cool. Wow. When you see them sitting there doing it,
yeah, I bet
it's wild. And he actually showed me quite a few things, and he was on 4 monitors and then a TV, which I mistook to be a 4K TV. Nothing that I saw was 4K. That I don't know if I saw a 4K there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure it's 4K across the multiple monitors. So
I gotta think about getting 4K monitors next.
Yeah, and everybody I talked to, we talked about performance, and I kept on asking, so you guys are putting so much into it, how are you gauging performance? And every single time they we're making it to work from today's midline system up. So today's midline system is going to be the low end when the game comes out, right? So that's what they're saying. So they're gearing it so the midline system would be the normal settings, and then you have highest, ultra, burn my system through the ground settings. And then I turn around. I kept turning around from, I think that was Matt's desk. I think that was Matt. I'm turning around. I'm seeing this guy, and there's this joystick and throttle on the table, and I'm seeing him, kind of not really play the game, but he's sitting over there and flying the Hornet and then doing something, flying the Hornet and doing something. I'm looking at the throttle and joystick going, all right, that looks kind of weird because I haven't seen that one before, and it was an X55. So you had the X55 on the desk, and this gentleman was talking about how they were building, they were trying to get the best throttle and joystick, implementation to the game, but he wasn't just using that. He was using a mouse and keyboard. He had other things on there. So I talked to him about key maps and about configuration files and stuff, and he's saying, while he hasn't had anything done for that yet, when the game ships, so we're talking, if I go off of what Will said, 18 months from now, right? That's when all the modules are out, Squadron 42 is done, and the game is actually ready for everybody else in the world, right? That they'll have standard maps for all the joysticks that they're supporting. But it was pretty cool to see him maneuvering the Hornet, even at slow speed or no speed, with the joystick that he had. The one thing he said he missed was from the X-52, the little thing that you flip up to push the missiles. But I looked at him, I said, do you really need every button on there? And he started going through them going, yeah. I don't have everything mapped yet, but yeah. He didn't have the, when you turn the assisted, the assisted flight model off so you could skid, he didn't have that set to a key yet. But,
which has me concerned, and that was something I was actually going to talk about in some other show, but I'm just concerned that there's going to be so many control things in this game that you're going to be using every single button on your HOTAS, and while that's great and all, I like more simplistic type of UIs, and to like Eve, where you have 3,000 things you can go through all these different sub menus and find, just confuses the crap out of me.
I think
that's where you can't.
You can make it as simple as you want to make it. You can have because if you want to have like a freelancer and you just want a space truck across the galaxy, you can just keep the assisted flight model on. You can have your HOTAS set up, and you need to move, you just move the joystick, and you can have, if you have a crap ton of buttons, like my HOTAS setup has a ton of buttons that I can do with, but I don't have to map them all to flight controls. I can, or even combat controls like, shields and all that kind of stuff. You can map it to other stuff like, mobile glass, or, I want to turn on the radio and have a button for that, things like that.
I want it to be voice commanded.
Yeah,
it's 2944. You got to make it voice commanded. But you also got to remember the sliders. So say you want a less simplistic flight model, a less simplistic setup, you slide your slider down, right? So when you get, and we'll talk about that because I talked to Chris, but when you get near somebody and there's like 50 people that you're coming, you'll be matched with the people that are set to the same slider as you are, not to the people that are doing all that other stuff, right? So that wouldn't be so bad. So he went through a lot of that, and then Will moved me kind of quickly because all of a sudden the lunch bell went off, and everybody starts running away because
like a herd of cats.
Evidently May, or I forget her name, had cooked lunch, and they were all eating burgers, and going downstairs to grab their burger to bring it back to their desk just to eat and work. They are really, really, really tuned to getting this thing out on time.
That's really good to hear.
So I go around the desk and I meet Forrest, and he's working on the maps for the dogfighting module. At least he's working not on the maps, he's working on the visuals for them. And he's the gentleman that sat there and took me through all the different teapots with the PBR stuff on them. And then he showed me a couple of maps. Oh my Lord. This is out of this world amazing. It's like the map that he showed me, the one which was high above a planet. You could see the detail. You could see detail like you were on the ISS down to the mountains and rivers and stuff below on the planet. It was amazing. And that's about when Chris came over and tapped me on the shoulder and, shook my hand, gave me a hug and said, "Hey, how you doing, Batgirl?" And I said, "Great." And then I thought that was going to be it. And I had my own little 10 for the chairman session there. And
Ask him some questions.
Yeah, and I was like, gee, I don't ever want to shoot my camera, and I forgot to give Will my camera for it. I just started asking him questions, and the first question I asked him was, because some people don't understand instancing, even though there's a whole video on it out there on the RSI website and their YouTube, right? So they talk about instancing, and the one thing that people don't understand after watching it is this still going to be one cohesive universe that everybody out there is going to be in the same place at once? Because if Stakas is over there in Australia, quiet. If you're over there in Australia, and my buddies are over there in England, that's a world away from each other, right? And I'm in Atlanta, and you're in New Jersey. Are we in the same universe? We are. What I asked him was like, are there going to be multiple servers like there are in World of Warcraft, right? Or in any of the other games? Or is it going to be one big server? The universe is continuous for everyone, everywhere. Now, there are multiple servers, but they're all doing the same, they're all using the same, help me, Core. What am I looking for?
What you have is one persistent universe working off multiple shards.
Right.
Not shards as in World of Warcraft, but they're all working, they're all feeding information into the same database, but to make sure that all channels are contained, you can have multiple people being in the same location without being able to see each other because one will be on channel 1, another will be on channel 2.
Right.
And that is the way the regions are going to work in Pro Se. However, what will happen is that if you're playing with someone or you group with someone or you clan with someone, they will always be in your instance if you are in the same levels.
That's it.
And you can also designate friends, and you can designate maybe even enemy lists. We've heard about them, but we have not really gone into detail about it. Like, people that have it out for you might be able to set their, like, for instance, bounty hunters need to be on the same shard as the people that they're hunting. So if they get a contract for someone, they'll always make sure that they put the bounty hunters on the same channels, right? So stuff like that is gonna hopefully be flawlessly integrated into the way that instancing is going to work in regards to the persistent universe for Star Citizen. The biggest pitfall, however, is that you could have an entire Chinese fleet sitting on a Chinese Asian shard, 15,000 people all sitting there in the exact same space occupied by, for instance, another American alliance that has occupied that space on a completely different shard. Now, the problem with that is the Chinese own that shard on the Chinese shard. The Americans own it on the American shard. But who actually owns it?
I'm gonna take care of that part next. Okay? Because that's where it started. That's where it started getting crazy. What's up, Perfect?
I was gonna chime in with one thing. I think the idea of sort of regional shards that comes into play more in sort of the random grab people for PvP more than anything else.
Right,
yes.
right.
Yes, of course.
Because my question was based around one of the questions I got from Twitter before I went out there. It's if my buddy across the country is saying, "Come help me mine this node," and it's within a distance that I could actually fly there, and the amount of time I have to play, because these are going to be vast, distances. Can I fly to him? And it's yes. Now I said, well, let's take, for instance, Operation Pitchfork. We all know what that is, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Operation Pitchfork, where we've got, I think last count was like thousands of ships, right?
Well, Imperium's got thousands of ships, but yes.
Yeah,
lots.
but yeah. So I'll talk about Imperium. I love it, but I'm not loving the people in it right now. I don't like the F word being tossed around at me on my YouTube channel. So what I asked him was, like, if we take Operation Pitchfork, for instance, we're going to have thousands of ships going into Grinder, right? The Tibus, whatever it is. The system where the Vandul are. How is that going to be handled? And right now, they don't know what the number is, but there is a finite number of ships that are going to be allowed on it. Now, he gave me two examples. He said, all right, so say you're going over to mine Asteroid Field A. Asteroid Field A has X number of resources, and X number of resources is what's available to the universe, right? So if you go over there with 10 ships and somebody else goes over there with 10 ships and you're still in two different instances, X is the same for both of you. So what you're extracting at once is Y plus Z from X, right? So you're taking, these two instances are taking from that resource. Now you go into someplace like the Grinder with thousands of ships. Well, because of balance and because of the way that it works, the system isn't going to say, all right, these 10 Vandul ships are in this instance and those 20 Vandul ships are in this one. It's going to be this instance fights all the ships in this area, this instance fights all the ships in that area, and this instance fights all the ships in that area. They don't have a finite number, but they're thinking somewhere around to keep the ping and to keep the servers not dying and your computer not dying, because we're talking about millions of polygons at once going off, actually tens of millions, right? You're probably going to be limited to 100 or less ships in an instance at first until the average computer speed is up, right? So the instance question, he took a long time to answer, and I left there going, wow, that's amazing, but it's still a lot of work. And the last thing he said was, yeah, but we still have to code it. So I was like, okay. So it's like all on paper right now, but we're not going to have the player universe out for quite a while, right?
Yeah,
we have
a couple years, I think.
No, not a couple years. Don't say that. People will start throwing themselves off of a bridge. It's going
to be a while.
It's not going to be that long, Joe. It's not going to be that long, because you got the dogfighting module, the social module, the next one out is a PvP module, and then you got something else. I forgot what they said after that. But you're going to have them out in rapid succession. The player universe module is going to be out for the release of the, the Squadron 42. So he talked a lot about different things like that, about how they're starting to build things and what things are important, and how he spent a long time talking about PBR and why it's important and why you've seen different changes in the ships from time to time when you go into the go into your hangar. And then I begged him, I said, can I see the constellation? So we went back into the office with Chris and David Hobbins again, Chris Smith and David Hobbins, and David brought up the Connie on his system, and yeah, it makes a lot of sense what they did. The cargo area and the entryway for the P-52 are totally in different areas now. The P-52 kind of docks with the ass end of the ship now.
Oh, it doesn't come from the floor?
No, it's kind of grappled underneath the ass of the ship. So, and then there's a hatch from the engine room. There's an engine room now. Okay, down into the actual, down into the cockpit of the P-52, and they weren't able to tell me how it was docking, but they had gotten that far. They still hadn't determined where they were going to put the quarters, like the sleeping quarters and stuff. And I looked at them and said, "Or not?" I said, "If you're really trying to take it from an immersion point of view, being in the Navy, I would hate to walk through the cargo area to have to sleep next to the engine room." I said,
Were
"I'd
you on
rather
the Navy?
sleep forward." Yeah, I was on the Guadalcanal, USS
too.
Guadalcanal.
I was on the Guadalcanal, but I was in the Navy.
Yeah, I know. We talked.
Yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah, so I mean, you would never want to sleep next to the engine room, you know. But I said, for the sake of getting it out, I don't know if it would matter to anybody else, but anybody in the Navy would tell you, you don't put the berthing compartments next to the engine room. It just didn't make sense.
Although my berthing compartment was about 30 feet away from a nuclear reactor.
That
Which
explains it all.
everything. Yes, I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but
Back problems, the insomnia, everything is
Everything.
now completely explained.
If I
And why
cry-
you would be crazy enough to do a goddamn StarCast.
yeah. So now the takeaway from what I saw, what the hell was that?
I hope it was
Giant
an electric toothbrush.
I mean, mine is in my drawer behind my bed, behind the green screen.
No, it's a fan, you guys. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, sure. That's not what a fan. All right, stop it, Stakas. So, my hands are here. It's not me.
Sir, your luggage is vibrating.
It's not my luggage. But I was very impressed by each one of the ships. Like right now, next Friday, we're going to see the second part of the upgrades to the Idris, right? So they're talking about adding in medical bays and engine rooms and armories and all sorts of things on the ship. And then we're told it's not just that, right? That they're also looking at all the ships that are capital size or multiplayer and making sure that they have similar setups. So the Constellation is the first one that we're actually seeing that come to. So we're going to see the Idris come out with all that first, then the Connie. And the Connie's going to have those different areas of the room that, of the ship that are separate. You're going to have the engine room, you're going to have the flight deck, you're going to have a berthing area or sleeping area and a cargo area. So it's pretty cool that they're starting to think dynamically or think, more detailed on these ships. So I was pretty impressed by that.
Cool. All right, I think it's time for the Q&A time. And we're going to get started doing our giveaway for the Aurora. So, Bod is... and thank you for sharing that, Nikki. That was awesome. Let's get started with this. And then, Bod, if you could start getting the questions all together. And who wants to be the question reader tonight?
I
It's been
do.
done. We've been doing it as we go, Dome.
Oh, okay, great.
So they should all be.
They're all
They
in
should
there
all
now?
be in chat. Yeah.
All
I
right.
will be a question answerer. Is what
Nothing
there-
against you, Perfect, but your computer tonight is just crap.
It is?
Let's have
Is that bad?
let's have the gnome do it in a gnome voice.
Yeah, the gnome can do it.
The gnome.
The gnome.
The
The
golem.
gnome.
Golem.
Gnome.
And then how's it go?
All right. So before we do that, I'm going to explain the process of the giveaway, and then we'll get started with that, and then we'll get started with the questions. Okay. So how the giveaway works, everybody, is as you've been watching tonight, you're earning Domo coins. If you're a follower, you get to earn 1 Domo coin every 15 minutes. If you're a subscriber, you get 2 Domo coins every 15 minutes. We're going to be giving away an Aurora package donated by Mr. Stakas. So I showed it earlier before we did the pre-show. I was running around the hangar. We're going to be giving away the Aurora package. So if you are not into Star Citizen at all and you don't have any ships at all, this is what you want. You want a package so that you can actually get into Alpha and Beta with it. So, and if you have a ship, I don't care. You can get an Aurora too. It doesn't matter. There's no problem with you guys getting an extra ship or 3 or 7.
It's a pack, so you get an extra NPC slot. So
Yeah.
it's always worth having.
Yep.
No, only new people.
No, it's for everybody.
I
So-
hope new people win it, but
Only new people.
No, we can't. We actually, there's a whole bunch of Twitch terms of service, and the way the giveaway has to be, it has to be for everybody who's here. So while you've been here, you've been earning the Domo coins. To check your Domo coins, you have to hit ! Domo coins. It tells you how many you've got. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the raffle. When you see the raffle come up, it'll say raffle has been started. It'll be Domo DM, which he's our dungeon master. He gives out the coins and stuff. Basically, Domo DM will say, or Geek DM will say, the thing has started, and you can buy tickets with your Domo coins. It's 1 ticket for 1 coin. Okay, so we're going to change that eventually as we get going, but for right now, it's 1 ticket for 1 coin. All you have to do is type in !ticket, not with an S, just ticket, and the number of tickets you want to purchase. Don't do that yet. I'm going to turn it on in just a second, and we'll let it go for the first, we'll do 15-20 minutes. We'll let it go so you guys can buy as many coins as you want, or buy as many tickets as you want, and then we'll do the drawing. The drawing happens, it's live here. You'll see it come up in chat. The bot will tell exactly who won and how many coins they spent. That's it. And that person will get the Aurora package. Okay? So make sure you guys are following. You have to be following to get the package. So please follow. If you haven't followed yet, go ahead and follow. And
you have to follow the Bearded Warriors.
Yes.
Only in Aurora? Only in Aurora?
What do you mean only in Aurora? It's great.
I gave out an Avenger last month, and I'm giving out a 325A this month.
We're getting there.
1 Aurora of 3 plus a 300i and a Avenger as well.
He gave it's like $400 worth of ships he's giving out. So.
Oh wait, that's SgtStakas. He's paying for them himself.
Yes, he is. So this is SgtStakas being.
I'll be giving away an extra large redacted one on my show. It doesn't fit me.
Yes. So if you want to, the rest of us in the group here are all part of a team called the Bearded Warriors, and if you want, you can follow all of us at the same time. You just go to the link that Perfekt Nerd just put up, and you hit the 1 button at the top, and it follows everybody on the list, and it's really easy, and you get the whole deal. All right, everybody, let me go ahead and get this thing started, and we can start with the Q&A time. So.
Remember, you only get half of an Aurora if you're only following Geekdomo. You won't be able to fly it out of your...
You get an Aurora without the power plant or the thruster.
Exactly.
You have to earn the rest yourself.
We're doing a 300i and an Avenger in a couple of weeks. 300i is next week, and the Avenger is right before PAX.
Uh-huh.
That'll be the week I give out the Hornet.
The raffle is open. Each ticket costs 1 Domo coin, and you can buy a maximum of 10,000 tickets. Real quick, just before we get started, I am going to PAX, and when I get to PAX, I talked with Eric or Mike Swafford, I can't remember his name, and he set me up with an appointment to see Chris Roberts at PAX, and just have some time to sit down and talk with him. So next week, maybe, or the week after, we will sit down and we'll do a Q&A. You guys will send me whatever questions you want me to ask Chris Roberts. I don't know how much time I'll have, but we'll take the best ones and we'll ask them with Chris.
I'll give you some advice on that one. It takes him 10 minutes to answer every question.
Which is perfect, because I'm going to be videotaping the whole thing. If it takes him an hour and a half, I have an hour and a half of footage to put up later on. So I'm fine with that. He can talk all he wants. I've noticed that when I've seen him do other kind of interview things, I've noticed him just chatting away like that.
So Chris, where are the toilets here? Well, you see, what we're really trying to do with the toilets.
Hey, that's not what I'm talking about. Don't make it out to be like he's...
No, I love him. I just think he does like to talk, so it's cool.
He's very passionate about this. And
that's great.
1 second, real quick. SCB Leviathan says, "Is there a way I can make sure my tickets are used?" Yes, I'm sorry. Once you've typed in ticket purchase, like ! ticket, and then the number of tickets you want, you type in ! Domo coins, and it'll say how many tickets you purchased behind the number. So it'll say in parentheses, like Ranger XML just did it. He has 0 coins left, and he used all of his coins. He used all 11 of his coins to purchase 11 tickets. So it's in parentheses, and the parentheses, that's the coins you got. Dorash just has 2 coins left. He purchased 3. Red Snare has purchased he used all of his coins, bought 82 tickets. So there we go, guys. Okay, let's get on with the Q&A. Bod, you would like to read your Bod is our mod, and he's also our question imp tonight, I guess.
Gnoom.
Okay,
first one from Cyberwolf74.
I love it.
Keep up. You can't break character. Never break character.
That's good.
Perfect. Go with it.
So after watching Wingman's Hangout this week, during the AI demo, you could see the Hornets landing on what looked like an early version of an outdoor landing site. I noticed there were multiple spots, at least 6 to land on, so in-game, will we have some sort of SWG urban sprawl of individual landing sites, or will there be instance-like combat?
That was just a holding. That was just a holding area, right? Something that's built into the CryEngine, right?
Yeah, I think it's...
That's the thing that you get to if you accidentally get outside your ship, outside your hangar.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't
I think the hangars themselves will be instanced. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the outdoor landing sites are probably not functional. They might be for NPCs, but I'm pretty sure,
Well,
that
they would
they're
have-
kind of there for aesthetics more than anything
But
else.
they'd have to be if you landed on a place that you didn't have a hangar on, though.
But that's part of the stretch goal, right? The stretch goal where they're going to do the procedurally generated planets with the...
Oh, that's a long way away, though.
It's not a long way away. It's just a way away. It's like...
Don't forget,
they haven't even funded the R&D people to do the fully procedural generated planets yet. So it's got to be more than a year away after the launch of the game.
Yeah.
And don't forget, 80% of the planet would just be hangars.
Well, that's not it. The place that you would land at, they're going to put it... Remember, the procedurally generated places are going to be far, 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 far away, and not many people are going to be there.
Right, but we all agree that hangars are instanced, right?
Right, they're instants,
Okay,
and what they
good,
saw is
good.
not what they were thinking.
No, okay, no, but that was the question. I was slightly worried that that people were under the impression that hangars weren't instanced, because that would mean 80% of the planet would be hangars.
Right.
No.
Good.
But I was just... Oh, piss off.
No,
You mean
we're gonna
like
stay
Star-
right here.
Wait, you mean like Star Wars Galaxies?
Yeah.
And everybody had a house and the whole planet was houses?
Pretty much.
What I was saying, I was just saying that area that they landed on, we'd have to have something like that on the planets if we're coming from a system we don't have a hangar on. We have to have somewhere to land.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I
a
thought
public,
it was
there's
gonna
a
be
public
like-
hangar. There's a public
Yeah.
hangar that you'll be paying landing fees to land at.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Well, there you go.
So it's
Okay,
like it's a
that's it.
spaceport.
Right, exactly. But
Awesome.
more than likely, you'll be landing in a station above and then taking a shuttle to the ground.
There
Like
you
Mos
go.
Eisley.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Next
Matt.
question,
Yes, question.
Okay, Cyberwolf74 again. So when CR was discussing the AI for the game, he described a pirate, a pirate getting up in the morning, brushing his teeth, attacking some traders, selling the loot to a fence, go celebrate in a bar. Does this mean we could track down the AI pirate who killed us, let's say in a bar, and shoot him in the back of the head and get our loot credits back?
Ooh, that's a good question.
This is something that I would care a lot about if it was possible to just walk up to someone in a social environment, rip out my gun from my holster, and shoot him in the back of the head. I think that would be a brilliant addition to the whole bar social scene, because fuck people in there. I just want to, go on a little small mini killing spree and just have like an all-out team deathmatch style bar scene. I think that would be brilliant, and it would lend to perfect freedom. But I can understand that, they want to be gay and Care Bear and just have that whole thing. You can't draw a weapon for the life of you. And I can see that, but I don't want it. I want to be able to just have the environment where it's kind of like DayZ or kind of like Rust, where you have the ability to draw your weapon and just start killing everyone if you chose. I would like that, but...
Maybe they will have a combat in a place like that, but it may not be with weapons. You might have to check your weapon at the door, but that doesn't stop you from maybe slugging the guy in the back of the head and having a fisticuffs with him.
I don't
Because
know.
that way...
Or maybe even smuggling a gun in your ass. I mean, come on.
A Derringer or something, maybe.
Whatever.
No, I think that what they're asking, Chris is very, very, very interested in keeping the immersion factor in this game. And if you're on a lawless planet, I think that would, or lawless system, I think that would be definitely something that he would allow in the game.
Well, I think it should be allowed everywhere, but maybe the repercussions for doing it in like a high pop zone like Earth is that there are plenty of AIs that instantly swarm you and blow up the entire bar just to get rid of you, right? I mean, I could see that happening, but all I'm saying is I want the ability to draw my gun and shoot them. Now, I realize that the question was about being able to track an AI, but you know, having the ability to shoot someone in the back of the head, regardless of whether they did you wrong or you just don't like the way they built their avatar, I think that would be a pretty decent or strong selling suit to have that freedom. Because if it's just limited to instances where you're either attacking something or defending something, or it's arena or it's boarding, then I think FPS will suffer just a little bit because you're losing that immersion of having the ability to combat everywhere.
You want to see sort of like an open world PvP system.
Hell yeah! Why can't you draw your gun like in real life?
Well, you might be able to, but if you're on Terra or something and you're in a heavily...
You might turn insta outlaw. Yes, if you would do it, yes.
Oh, it would
be, but that should be it.
In 2944, that would be the last thing that you did. And if you're in a lawless system, if you're somewhere else, I see that being allowed, right? You could do that. But in some of the places that you're talking about, it is not going to be allowed because, remember, the game has to be fun for everybody. So there's going to be places to do that, and there's going to be places where you can't do that.
No, but I get that. But I think you should still have the freedom to draw your weapon and fire. But
you may not be able to get a shot away,
or get away,
or instantly your rating drops to negative, whatever the maximum is, because you fired a weapon in like a newbie zone or whatever. Basically, you go perma red for the rest of your life, if anyone's familiar with that term.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, you have the ability to do it, and that would be quite powerful. Like, not pretty sure, restricting it to not being able to grab your gun in that area would be bad.
I'm pretty sure instead of mechanically sort of making it arbitrary, like you just can't draw your weapon because the button doesn't work or whatever, it's probably more likely that your guns will either be disabled or you'll have to leave them at the door every time you enter a bar.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, but that lends to immersion. But you could also choose to stand in front of that guy, draw your gun, and shoot him in the head. I mean,
sure.
I would like
it's with ability. You at pointing your gun and shooting people in the head. Is there anyone you like in real life?
Yes, plenty of people.
They've all got
the ones that I haven't shot in the head.
They've all got bullet wounds, but then none of them fatal.
I don't do it in real life, right? So I want to have the freedom to do it in a game. I mean, that's
so. Eve, if you attack something in secure space, you're essentially dead within 30 seconds after that, right?
And that may happen.
But he just wants the freedom to do it.
And then I get my shit back.
That's it. So I think that's what would happen.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Having
that would be realistic.
Right.
Would be good. Because even if you do it in secured space, if you have enough firepower, you can still take out whoever you're shooting at before you get tackled and killed. But, at least you can do it. And the repercussions...
What was the original question?
I don't remember.
Being able to track down an AI after they kill you and get
the answer is yes
back.
to that question.
Yes.
Yes.
If you could shoot them in the bar, then yes.
All right, next one.
Okay, Cyberwolf again. From the AI videos, it looks like the planetary areas are freaking huge. What steps can SIG take to make these places easy to get around and not get lost in?
Where don't see that one?
I think you skipped one.
What's huge?
The planetary areas.
Well, we don't know that yet because that part's not even implemented yet.
I think he's talking about the artists' impressions of particular landing zones, like when they do what Moscow will feel like, or what a particular when you look at those artists' impressions, they look freaking massive. And especially when they talked about the architecture modules being able to just make expanses that go on forever.
Well, think about Mass Effect, right? Huge areas, right? But everything was pretty much linear. You knew where you had to go, how to get there, right?
And I'd be hugely disappointed if that's what it ends up being like. Honestly.
Well, it's going to end up being like that because it would be... I mean...
What's the point of a sandbox game if you've got a linear
Well,
if you're going for a linear design, then you don't need 90% of the map.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that think about the way they move people around there. You're going to have public transportation. You're going to have your own vehicles. They've already told us that, right? They already said, yeah, we'll have vehicles in the game. And you're going to have places that you have to go from A to B. So, I mean, it's 2944. Everything's going to have some kind of global positioning system telling you where to go and how to get there, right? So no matter how big or how small it is, I don't think you'll ever feel lost in the environment.
Fair enough.
All right, next.
Cyberwolf yet again. So during the hangar, Wingman admitted that they don't have office-to-office DFM networking working. It's all office LAN fights. Being that PAX is so very close, should we worry?
That's not 100% correct now. They turned the world servers on probably the day before I did the interview with Eric. They had turned the world servers on, and they were now using them to do their dogfighting instead of the LAN. So it might have been filmed before my interview was. So I don't think that's right. I think that now the world servers are on and they're actually able to push it.
Cool.
I think we've skipped a few questions.
No,
I have no idea where we are.
Bot is just asking questions directly from. I guess Cyber wrote about 850 questions, and Bot's just going down the road.
Yeah, I had a couple that wasn't. So
okay.
Okay.
Now we'll get back on track.
We're trying to find out where we're trying to read along with you if we can't understand your gnome voice. So I'm like trying to read what you're saying, and I'm like, I don't see it.
Cyberwolf again. So, do you think that with the announcement of DirectX 12, will NVIDIA just let Microsoft, aka the other EA devil horns, do devil horns, do the work for them, and not bother creating a Mantle-like competitor?
If DirectX 12 is anything like DirectX 11, it's just a quick registry fix away from DirectX 10.
Yeah.
So
I looked at the whole thing, and I don't see it performing nearly as good as Mantle. And there's some people that just keep blasting me. They're like, Domo, DirectX 12 is going to be so much better than Mantle, and it isn't. It isn't.
But at the same time, we still have to see how much Mantle will actually improve high-end performance, because as far as we're aware, all it currently does is improve low-end to medium cards to perform at a much more efficient rate for specific games. And that's exactly what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
All right. What's the big improvements that are being put into DirectX 12 since I'm behind the time?
I'll have to go look it up, but there's a lot of like technical
I know what's in Mantle, but I don't know what's in DX12.
A 2 instead of a 1.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I'm not joking. The difference between DirectX 11 and DirectX 10 is a registry fix that literally changes your number. That was all you needed to go from 10 to 11. We don't. At 12, we'll have some extra.
Yeah, but what do the cards have to do? Like, aren't the cards doing something different? That's what I'm asking.
All right, here's what it says. This is bad when you go to the DirectX blog from Microsoft, and it says this. Is this marketing spin? We, the product team, read the comments on Twitter and game development, game reforms, and many of you have asked, this is real, or is it a marketing department suddenly received a budget infusion? Everything you're reading is coming directly from the team who brought you almost 20 years of DirectX. It is our job to create great APIs, and we have worked closely with our hardware and software partners to provide significant performance wins of DirectX or Direct 3D 12. And these aren't just micro benchmarks that we hacked up ourselves. These numbers are for commercially released game engines or benchmarks running on our alpha implementation. The screenshot below are real DirectX app code running on Direct 3D 12 runtime.
I have the answer for all of this. It turns out that DirectX 12 is Mantle.
Yeah. They snuck it in. They just basically copied the Mantle code, which is open source.
Yep.
Thanks, Perfect.
Yeah. Mantle, they adopted Mantle. They're just calling it DirectX 12. This article says the way they did it managed to pull the stupidity from the jaws of defeat by breaking compatibility in the name of lock-in. So they did it for the Xbox One specifically to try and compete with the PS4 because it just doesn't have the performance to compete with it. And they're also bringing it to PCs as well. So
I always love
Just
it when
mantle.
I always love it when they put a screenshot in there said rendered with DirectX 12, but no details. You could have taken this out of a fucking magazine or somewhere else, or it doesn't matter.
There's like there's no benchmark or anything on it, and I'm like, okay, so what is this showing me?
It shows you pretty pictures, probably from a Titan or something.
Yeah.
But it is out late 2015, so they got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Probably right, just in time for the game to be live.
All right. We got another question from Cyberwolf.
Cyberwolf, have any of you guys tried out Anything FPS new YouTube link to the super badass mod for Star Citizen, where you can mess around with destructible ship models and world physics?
I kind of give up on that stuff.
He means Pro's Playground, and yes, I spent about an hour running around there spawning buggies.
Did you?
I
saw
it. Go ahead. Yes.
I kept pushing the button to spawn buggies until I stopped getting until the lag got so bad. I think I had about 80 or 90 going around in a circle.
That's awesome.
Below 20 FPS.
That is awesome.
It is always fun to play with the Crysis engine, but unfortunately I did not download it. I saw it when it first came out, 10 minutes after Pearl posted it. Pearl, the Reddit user. And I was looking at it and I was like, I could really... And then I looked over at Steam and it was like, Red Dragon open beta. I'm going over here now. Like, I just didn't want to, I did the whole copying of the files before with the Battle for Ilum and stuff like that, and it just, didn't pique my interest that much. And I saw I think We Are the Romantics before with the modded version where he actually had the articulated thrusters and stuff like that, and it just, I looked at it and I just went like, yeah, I could do that, but it won't feel anything like the actual thing. And then when I saw Pearls, I was like, okay, this might start to feel closer to what Star Citizen will feel like, but at the same time, I just don't feel like robbing myself of the experience of what it'll actually be. So
yeah,
I'll just wait for
it
DFM. It's like 2 weeks and 2 weeks and change away. I can wait.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
And here's the thing. I for one thing, I'm on my work laptop, so there's nothing on here. I can't put anything on here. But for another thing, yeah, that's what it is. I just don't want to. I don't want to just try stuff out and then just have my frustration continually out. That I'm not actually playing the dogfighting module.
Whilst I love the polygons and the playing with the engine at the end of the day, what I want is a persistent universe where I can play with my friends and have everything come together. The fact
And
that
shoot them all in the head.
Yes, the fact that I can spawn a Crysis engine. Well, I played Crysis and the original Crysis, and I played Crysis 2, and I played Crysis 3, and I've played around with the Cry engine, and yeah, that's like very old news.
5 minutes, everybody. We're doing our drawing, so get your Domo coins or get your tickets now.
All right, now can we move on to questions that aren't
from Cyberwolf? We love you, Cyberwolf. We do, but we've read about 18 questions so far from you tonight.
We got a break before we get another one from him. So,
okay,
Malefic Gamer, if you have multiple hangars or packages, you have purchased multiple hangars. How do you feel they will handle this situation? Also, if you are allowed to have one hangar, how would it determine which hangar you get?
Wait. What was the last part of that?
How will they determine which hangar you get?
Well, if you only get one, how do you choose? I mean, as far as I'm aware, you get the biggest one.
You get the biggest one.
Right,
Well,
but between Asteroid and Deluxe, which one?
Yeah.
Well, that was answered by Rob on one of the Wingman's hangars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they said is, we don't know yet, because there's going to be some people that have a Cutlass, which goes in a Asteroid, and they have an Avenger, which goes in a business hangar, and they will get both hangars. They just don't know how to implement that right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
It's TBD, to be determined.
Right.
Okay. From Kourmet Panda Bar, what is this Star Citizen, and can you tell me about the game and how it works?
It's a game where you fly spaceships.
No, he's serious. This is somebody who knows nothing about the game. Who's here for the
a new viewer.
New viewer.
Well, I was
Maybe we should have Perfect say.
So, Star Citizen is a persistent universe MMO, kind of in the style of EVE Online, but it's actual dogfighting. So it's a cross between sort of your old school spaceflight sims and sort of a modern take on like your freelancer style of gameplay, your X style of gameplay, where there's this big persistent universe that's out there, and there's players populating it, and there's an economy that's running, and all sorts of things. There's mining and factories and all sorts of things going on. At the same time, there's different races, and there's war and different factions, and people are doing all sorts of different things all over the universe, and you get your own ships, and you get to fly around and do kind of whatever you want in the universe, and have fun, and and be a spacey person.
Yep, pretty much anything you can think up of in this game, you can space related.
Put the link to the sizzle reel in there, because that says it the best.
Do you have it? Can you throw it in there, Nikki?
Oh, God.
I don't
Thanks
have
for
it.
calling me out.
Well, you're the one who came up with the idea.
Well, it's right on, just say go to robertspaceindustries.com and look at Star Citizen about the game.
Core's got his Coke, everybody.
I just linked it like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, awesome. No, I mean, it's a lot more exciting than that. If that's the way we explained it, man, nobody would have spent like $1,000 on this game, right?
It's amazing.
It's like much more exciting. When you look at Chris, his original intention was to call the game Space Traders, and it evolved into what it is now.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. Like, once you get over there and you have a wallet with any kind of cash in it, just kiss it all goodbye. Just don't go over to that site if you're a first-time person and expect.
Yeah, space trading. It's first-person shooting. It's dogfighting. It's owning your own business. You could own your own. You can own your own factory where they make weapons. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be in this game.
You literally just take this stuff and go into the screen, take all my money.
And StarCast has put a lot in there.
You just take all my money. Chris, take it.
Make it rain.
That's not real money. That's like Monopoly money.
All right, everybody.
It's all pretty Monopoly money.
We are going to do our drawing now. So we'll get right back to the questions in just a minute. Real quick, make sure you type in ! ticket and the number of tickets you want to buy, because in about 30 seconds I'm going to do the roll, and then that's it. It's final. We're giving away this rah. So get ready. Here it comes. We can do a drum roll here in a second. All right, here we go. We're rolling right now. Let's see. Good luck, everybody. Thanks, everybody who bought the tickets. Here we go. Raffle is now closed.
No drum roll?
Also,
total of 1,346 tickets are purchased. Woo. And the winner is Yoko Rose with 30 tickets purchased. Yoko, good time viewer. Yeah, long time viewer. Way to go, Yoko. Congratulations, you won a Just please just send me a message on Twitch and I will send it back to you. And I need to have your Star Citizen email address. So whatever if you're brand new and you don't have a Star Citizen email address, then make sure you sign up and then send me whatever that email address is so that I can do that. But send it to me on Twitch, please. Okay, let's continue on with the questions. We're almost done, guys. We got 15 minutes. Let's wrap this up.
Okay. Xmezzy had a very similar question to the last one, so hopefully that covered it. Madman Moose, so many people in space, what happens to all the poop?
Oh, that's the question you pick?
Goes out in
yes.
Goes out in space.
It's the next one.
It goes out in space, it's frozen.
Well, have you ever heard of a black hole?
That's where all the poo goes?
I thought that's where it comes from.
That's where it comes from, right? Yeah.
Well, certainly the sun does not shine there.
Okay, topographic. Where's Trendane? Did he despawn?
Yeah, he despawned.
I think Trend actually answered that question in chat.
He actually, and Trendane showed up for 2 seconds. He showed up, he's like, I'm here, didn't despawn, and he disappeared again.
That's it.
Okay, Cyborg. How smart or good do you want the AI to be? Do you want it to be so good it never misses, or can easily outfly a player, or very, very dumb so that it can never match a human player?
This is something that I have a lot of problems with a lot of different games, and I think it has to do with player-controlled mentality, and that is when you're playing against an AI or what you would call a bot, right? If they kill you, it's because they're using a process and you think that you're being cheated to death because they're shooting you with godlike accuracy. If they don't damage you at all, you breeze through it and say, fuck bots. Bots, are programmed not to kill anything, so you get no satisfaction from killing them. The balance between the two is really, really, really difficult to find, because you want a sense of accomplishment of, dealing with difficult AI opponents, but if they're too skilled, then it'll always feel like they're aimbotting you, because literally that's what they're doing. And if they are just subpar to your skills, then it will still feel like, oh, they're just bots. I didn't actually do anything, and I'm breezing through it like it's nothing.
And the real problem with it is that it's all mathematics, right?
Yep.
It all comes down to statistics. It all comes down to probabilities, and they are the most finicky things in the world. Because if you adjust a flight model based on probabilities, and you say, okay, I want him to make a mistake this percentage of the time in terms of this system, or I want to make it so he purposely misses this percent of the time, it's just like it takes an incredible amount of balancing to be able to get that to a point where you feel like you're actually getting a meaty challenge, but not like you're actually playing against a computer.
Right.
That balance is so difficult to find in so many games. It is ridiculous, because this is a simulator. It's kind of like an FPS. So if you take you grab Global Offensive CSGO as an example. It has bots in it. I don't understand why they would ever consider doing that. I didn't actually play the game that much, but when a bot kills you, you always feel worse than when a player kills you. And when you kill a bot, you feel no sense of satisfaction because it's a bot. Now, when a bot kills you, it feels like they're aimbotting because they obviously killed you before you could react to them, right? So they, got the lucky hit, like the 30% chance of them actually shooting you in the head at a godlike speed. Now, that'll always feel like, they're killing you with an aimbot. But, 9 out of 10 times, you'll run over them so easily because they're on the 70% side. This is a very, very difficult topic to get into. It's all about balance, and they're going to have to balance it just right. Of course, when it's easy AI opponents, you can just make them not be able to do it as much damage or stuff like that, and you can balance it out like that. But when you're talking about actual threats to you, the balancing is going to be ridiculously difficult for them to maintain. It's the problem with skill-based games, yeah.
Okay, a quick one from Dazzler2Dirks. What happens if the AI decides it doesn't like the game and logs out to play something more interesting?
Well, then it'll probably, be playing Eve as well.
Probably it'll definitely play Eve because it's more spreadsheet oriented. Hey, thanks Falcon for following.
Okay, last one from Cyborg. It's not really a question, it's more a statement to Stakas. So after watching Anything FPS's video where he plays the buggy race with Disco Lando and noticing himself named Pearl, it was also mentioned by Wes that Anything FPS is an Aussie. I've come to the conclusion that Anything FPS is in fact a woman, which explains the shyness, and dun 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 is in fact Mrs. Sergeant Stakas.
Oh, that's a good conspiracy theory. I think that Anything FPS might be a woman. I don't know. I offered to have them. I wasn't say him come on the show several times, and every time it's like, oh, I'd love to, but I don't have a mic, or I'm really kind of mic shy, and
yeah,
camera shy, mic shy. Every time I ask the same thing.
Everything's shy. It's
but Eric has talked to them.
Man or woman?
Eric has talked to them and offered them a job. Eric has talked to them, and they have turned down every offer that Eric has made.
They probably have a better offer, and they already work somewhere.
And they are
all crisis.
Wait, and they are, which I think this leads to a little bit to the conspiracy that it might be Stakas.
Why?
Right?
They are Australian, I know.
Yeah, they are Australian.
I know that.
Yeah, so I mean, so it could
all
be
you have to do
Stakas.
is go to Pearl's Steam account, and it says they're from Australia.
Right, I know.
Not that you guys are stalking this guy, Jesus Christ. Or this
No,
girl.
I was just interested. Yes, please.
See, there he is. Gee,
Hey,
That's Pearl.
if my missus could do CryEngine like that, Jesus Christ.
You
I'd
wouldn't
have
be in
her
Australia.
making-
being
I'd
in
have her
Santa
making me
Monica.
ships. It wouldn't
Well,
be
let me-
get to the kitchen and make me a sandwich. It would get to the PC and make me a ship.
Make me
Let me tell you.
Damn it.
After going to Santa Monica, if anybody had that kind of skill, you would want to be there. That was like heaven to be in that office. Everybody was like,
Well,
"Ah."
there's got to be something going on then, because either they already work in the field, like Core was saying, or
they're 15.
I doubt that they're
I
50.
don't think-
You
Because
never
even-
know.
Even if they're 15, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. They could still operate or work or at least be publicly known. The thing about the way that the YouTube is set up, and everything kind of leads to believe that the quality of work comes from someone that was already in the field and was already apparent there for a longer while. Also, the fact that the YouTube hides everything, including number of subscriptions and everything, leads it to believe that it is an account not just, or at least not solely for the use of that person alone, in the way that it might just either be a sort of stunt, but I won't believe that it's a CIG stunt mainly, but it could just be Crysis and Crytek going, yeah, this is what you can really do with the engine.
Yeah, it's like a
Use
group of
CIG.
people, but they don't admit it's a group. It could be like 20 people.
Don't forget, there are so many Crysis modders out there, right? There have been Crysis modders since the original Crysis that have gone absolutely nuts with it, but because of that, have gotten jobs because of their skills in that field. And if they've already done that, if they've already gotten a job at a company or a games development company or at Crytek or somewhere for their skills, then they might not accept a job offer from CIG because that might make a few things known about them that their company might not want to know.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm suspect about is the way that the 3 freelance variants were revealed. Because they were basically ripped straight out of the code, put into the hangar, shown around, and they were there, because I saw the post that was put in the
Reddit?
the forum as well, with all the other pictures that went along with it, of all the other stuff, and they were almost ready for implementation, and that was all that was said. Nothing was said about it from CIG or RSI. Nothing. They're there, and everyone's even Wingman acknowledged them and said, shook his hands at.
He's got to
anything
figure at this
FPS.
point that anything FPS is going to data mine whatever comes in. Whatever
Yeah.
the new thing's released, it's going to be there.
And I'm
But
sure
the thing is-
CIG either did it as a stunt, or they just went, "Oh fuck, you didn't take that out of the code before you released it."
But the thing is, after they've acknowledged that they are the variants and that was it, why not come out with the details of what's going to be? Because if they're ready to be implemented in engine, surely they've got the details of the ship worked out by now.
No, they didn't say that. They didn't say they were the variants. They never acknowledged that. In fact, Eric said they were definitely not the variants at this point.
They were just accidentally put into the code.
They were left in. It was a total, it was a total snafu, and there is nothing signed off by Chris to be
I hope
released
not,
to
because some of those
anybody.
are pretty nasty looking.
Yeah, but
Mimi.
you want to know it? He could have definitely been throwing me for a loop, so I didn't say anything, right? But
No, maybe he was doing
Yeah.
that. Maybe he was not. At the end of the day, all we know is that these are 3 models that they at one point developed. That is something that we
Right.
know for sure.
But they definitely own up to everything. They
Oh
own
yeah, they're
up to
very
everything.
open. They're
They
very
do
open.
not hide, So if they say that those weren't but the whole thing goes back to
No, but maybe
anything
they.
FPS.
maybe because of the negative reactions that they had, and this isn't another part of public relations. Because of the negative reactions that they had, they might just say, "Oh no, we're just going to redo the whole thing, so we could just say those are not the real ones." Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so those aren't the real ones. I mean, that's another part of it.
I don't think they would do that. I mean, they've released things and changed it.
I'm not saying they would.
Hang on.
I'm just saying it's possible.
Yeah,
I think it is actually very, very possible. And I mean, all the love to CIG, but I mean, they're still a company at the end of the day, right?
Come on.
They're going to do what's in their best interest.
Cyberwolf saying that they still think it's my missus, and that's why that they had the boob lancer going on.
Does your missus have
One thing
boobs?
about that.
Boob Lancer.
One thing about that. The Smogfire brings up a good point with this non-compete clause, and this is what we thought originally. It's actually someone either working for Crytek or working on a CryEngine game who cannot transfer jobs because of a non-compete clause.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think
Yeah.
that's super possible. And it's
That's
really
probably the most realistic thing, to be quite honest with you, because non-compete
Yeah.
clauses are pretty crippling at times.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
sorry,
you can talk about what you're doing. And here's the thing.
I'm sorry if I didn't express that explicitly. That was where I was going with
Okay.
what I was.
Yeah. So I mean,
Come on.
it can't be some 15-year-old, right? I mean,
No.
it definitely isn't some 15-year-old because 15-year-olds
No.
don't have that kind of experience with the CryEngine.
Maybe they started working on it when they were 12 or something.
But it would floor
And
you
then
if
But
it
it's not.
was.
It's not really open source. So I mean,
Yeah.
the
You
the
need-
amount of
Yeah.
experience that anything FPS shows with the CryEngine, I mean,
Yeah.
they can't just be working with like the basic SDK, you know?
I mean, you got to remember, it looks perfect. It looks like it came straight from CIG, right?
Mhm, yeah.
And
Yep.
it's not like this took him weeks to do. This took him
He does it in
an
hours.
hour.
Yeah, he does it in
and
hours,
just
yeah.
goes, "Oh, I'm just going to add this. I'm going to recolor that and retexture that. I'm just going to make sure, I'm just going to put police here." And then, that sort of level of refinement, especially because there's no such thing as skinning in in the Crisis engine as a basic resource. That means that,
He's taking the textures out, putting the things on the textures and putting them back in.
yes.
Had the Texas there to start with.
Mhm.
Probably has CryEngine templates ready to go for textures and stuff.
It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we have to stop now, guys. We have to go around the room and do our thing because it's already 5 minutes left, so we have to wrap up.
We're not going 3 hours tonight?
No, I am in so much pain right now. I'm actually was about to start crying a minute ago. I got to get out of here. So, but it's time anyway. It's our normal 2 hours we do, and I want to be able to put it up on YouTube, so directly transfers off
Yes.
of Twitch. All right, so let's go around the room here. Mr. Stakas, tell us about your YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all that stuff.
YouTube's not up yet, but I'm definitely on Twitch. SgtStakas, definitely on Twitter, at SgtStakas. If you follow me on Twitter, then you'll get notified when I stream on Twitch. Follow the Bearded Warriors, all of the Bearded Warriors, all of us. Once go to the. Have we got the Bitly thing? I don't have it on me.
Bod.
But anyway,
Bod
yeah.
does. Bod is
yeah.
the mod of.
What is the mod?
Yeah, Bod is the mod.
So yeah, I'll be streaming a whole bunch of different stuff. Probably going to stream some Titanfall soon, but probably not today because I go to pick up the rest of my PC today. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
So, yay! And follow Nikki.
Well, we'll get
Just
to
Go
it.
follow me.
I'm just going to throw that
I
out there.
myself.
I'm just going to throw it out there. That's all.
Oh, you're one of my best followers, right? So that's cool.
All right, perfect. Go ahead.
You can follow me on Twitter at Perfekt Nerd. You can follow me on Twitch. Just follow all the Bearded Warriors, actually. You might as well.
Yeah. We all stream.
I'm currently on a work PC, and I will be for like the next month or so. So, like, actually doing gameplay and streaming and all that stuff is completely out of the question. But I will be here on StarCast every week.
Yep. Awesome. Mr. Core, are you streaming right now?
Yes, I'm starting my stream up as we
I
speak.
heard people saying that, oh my god, how's Core streaming? Because he's in the chair.
Yes, I will be. I've started up my stream just like a second ago.
So we'll raid Core after this is all done.
Yep. I am a streamer. I stream almost every day. I try to stream every day, usually for 4 to 7 hours. Today or this week, it's all about Red Dragon because that went into open beta just now. I know that my screen is dark. This is mostly because the game is already running. So, yeah, come check out my channel, see if you enjoy. I'll usually play most of the new games that come out. And, of course, in hopefully 25 days, we'll have some dogfighting to go with that.
Yep. Awesome. All right, Bod.
Okay, I'm Bod699. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. I'm now actually a bearded warrior. That's why I got this. To be part of the squad. And for the guys that ask questions that didn't get asked, I'll keep a note of the interesting ones for next week.
Yeah, we'll bring him over. We tried to. We got some people asking, saying that our rapid fire thing we were doing wasn't giving wasn't being fair to the questions. So we're just basically not answering them this week. We'll try to pull them in the next week.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on them.
I can even, if I end up doing a massive hangar stream again, I might pick some of them up and answer them during that as well.
Stakas has like 800 ships, and he streams for 4 or 5 hours or more longer. 8 hours the other day.
Once he builds his new PC, he'll be back in there once he builds the PC.
Yeah,
to see
once I get my PC, and hopefully it won't lag. So.
All right, Nikki Batgirl, tell us about your stuff.
All right, Nikki Batgirl, D'Angelo. I have a YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/StarCitizenAA. It's also my Twitter, and my Twitch is Nikki65. I don't stream often, but when I do, it's usually either the Hangar module or Kerbal Space Program, and
Elite Dangerous.
Elite Danger? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not until they drop the price of that damn thing down.
No, I'll buy it at that price. After watching Scott Manley's interview of David, I can't pronounce his last name. Yeah, I'm very interested in that game too. But I do a lot in the community, and my big thing is I try to get as many interviews with the developers as I can right now with CIG, but I'm expanding that into the people that actually work for Elite Dangerous crew. So hopefully that starts happening soon.
Cool. Awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being here tonight. I'm Geekdomo everywhere. You guys know me. You're here. I stream every single day. I think I might take tomorrow off. The back problem isn't from me. It's only when I'm sitting at this desk, and I think it's becoming an ergonomics issue, and I have to figure out what's wrong. Because I have everything sort of set up in a nice ergonomic fashion. I move my chair up and down. I just can't seem to get it, but the pain is so intense I can't even use my left hand for WASD. So that's why I might be off tomorrow, guys, and I might take the weekend off. I think I might take a couple of days to let my body kind of heal back up. So I don't know who the hell Geekdomo is, Ursa, you bastard. But I will be giving away some more games and stuff like that. So come on over to my channel, and we do a lot of EverQuest Next Landmark, and I'm playing a lot of new games as suggested by everybody. I put up a straw poll, and people vote on what game I'm going to give away for that day, and it's a lot of fun. So
what about the Portal, Joe? What about the Portal tomorrow?
Portal will be tomorrow. If I take tomorrow off from gaming, I think I might be okay to Portal, because I was gaming all night last night, couldn't sleep, came downstairs, played all morning, and then I did the 3 hours of streaming, and then I went, you know what I mean? So I'm not giving my body enough time to rest. So I think I might not stream tomorrow. But anyway, let's go over and hit Mr. Core of Existence. We're going to go raid his channel. He doesn't know we're coming. It's going to be great. We're just going to pop in there and just surprise him. So there's Core's channel, everybody. Let's go over there. And thanks again, Nikki, for being here. And we will see you all back in the verse next week. Until then, see ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.